Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. I'm driving home from work on a Tuesday. One of the things from Monday Night Raw that kind of like stuck in my side that I kept on thinking about as I was trying to fall asleep last night was the AJ Styles promo when he was out there inside of the ring. It was him and Dragon Lee. They were both doing a promo. Dragon Lee, put out the fact that he's going to be wrestling for the Mega Championship against Dominic Mysterio. He's the new number one contender. And then, AJ Styles took the mic and he said that, he's going to be fighting John.Cena at Crown Jewel, if you hadn't heard about it. It basically thanked the fans for, their outpouring of wanting to see this match as John Cena's career is coming to a close in December. It's been widely told that he only has 5 dates left. 2 Monday Night Raws, Crown Jewel, Survivor Series, and a Saturday night's main event. It's crazy that we've gotten to the point where we can name John Cena's final shows. It's almost like you just don't want to believe it. Today, the Saturday night's main event, event poster, or at least the image that they're going to be using online to sell the show came out, calling John Cena the GOAT, and him coming out for one last time saying that this is it. 15 is the date for Saturday night's main event in Washington, D.C. as tickets go on sale. And it was kind of like, oh, this is really over. I mean, as far as sports competitors, when the time is coming, one of my favorite players that I was watching growing up was Chipper Jones. He got injured his last season that he was playing in the big leagues, so that honestly kind of sucked. But I remember A-Rod's career really didn't end the way that he wanted it to. Like, the Yankees season wasn't even done, but the manager kind of told the A-Rod, hey, today's your last day. Derek Jeter got to play out his final season, but the Yankees weren't a playoff team, so his last game was kind of a joke. And they were just out there having fun the way that they used to do it back in the day. But I think that, Cena's going to be competing until that final day. And in my mind, it's got to be something big. But here we are for Crown Jewel. And this AJ Styles match, we don't even really get plugged. I understand Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins is the selling point of this pay-per-view. This is a bragging rights, a former, Survivor Series, SmackDown versus Raw, champion versus champion. That is your main event. But this is supposed to be your greatest competitor of all time in WWE, finishing up his career, one of his last guaranteed matches. And his match doesn't get a promo, doesn't get a highlight film of what is going on. I don't really understand it. And then at the same time, I'm thinking is AJ Styles' career really coming to an end as soon as we all think it is? He's made reference to he thinks 2026 is going to be his final year as an active competitor. And how do we kick off his countdown clock? What is his, final match or final time going to be? Are they going to try and rev him up to give him one more trip around the sun? I can remember when AJ Styles was in TNA trying to come to WWE, and WWE didn't want to sign him because they thought he was too old. It would take him too long to get used to a WWE ring, used to the WWE style. He would be trapped in NXT, and then, his age would only, grow from there, and you didn't really know how long they were going to be able to use him. He goes to New Japan. He pretty much completely reinvents himself, even though he's kind of just the same competitor that he was on TNA, but you got to see him on a bigger stage to the point where man, I want this guy. He debuts in WWE. He wins the WWE Championship in his first year in the company. He's facing some of the biggest names. It didn't really matter, if he was on the SmackDown brand. He was still fighting guys like John.Cena, putting up big matches that people were talking about how good they were. And that was awesome. But, I still go back to 2 weeks ago. I don't think that promo was for nothing. If you remember AJ Styles' dark promo where he mentioned the Good Brothers, Machine Gun Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, he was saying that he really didn't have any friends in the back. They're all gone. He didn't really understand why the people in the back were holding him back. And then he goes out there and immediately has a match, and Dragon Lee comes from the back and helps him out. And since then, Dragon Lee has, become his friend. I don't think that that's really what they're getting towards. And I'm wondering if, they're putting Dragon Lee and AJ Styles together for something involving, AAA, to where maybe AJ will turn on Dragon Lee, setting up some sort of a match in AAA. And maybe that's where he's going to have his big moment. Because to me, on AJ's promo on Raw, AJ brought up the fact that he gets to beat up John Cena, drawing to the, I believe, 2017 feud of AJ and the Good Brothers, the club, versus, John Cena. And they really got that line over. And AJ and John Cena had their 3-match series, I guess you could say. I remember one of them was at Money in the Bank. Might even have been a 6-man tag, and I think they had 2 singles after that. But to me, that kind of draws a reference to the Good Brothers, yet once again, and they talk about it on their podcast, the fact that they don't really know where AJ is going or leading with this. They swear that they don't really know anything. And at this point, I'm not going to speak for them. Money talks in all situations, but the Good Brothers, I love these guys to death, but their 2 runs in WWE just haven't been it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who isn't in love with these guys or doesn't really want to use them, but there's been patches in their WWE time when they weren't injured and you didn't even really know if they worked there. I don't think they would go back there. I think they're more than happy, doing the Maple Leaf Wrestling stuff, doing, I guess they haven't done TNA. I know they haven't done AEW. I guess they're just, doing the indies that they can, but Machine Gun has said that whatever they do from here on out is gonna be whatever they want to do. They're not working for the man anymore. So not really quite sure what we're doing, but it makes me wonder if AJ is going to be able to explode out of this John Cena match. Because there's no stipulation, there's no real feud to it. It's almost just like an exhibition that these 2 guys are getting together and they're going to wrestle and they're going to laugh and have fun and, whatever happens. There's no, if I win, I get a championship shot. There's no real, there's no stakes to it, is what I'm saying. And Cena only has 5 days. I know that he has, won the Elimination Chamber. Then he won the championship at WrestleMania. He happened to lose it at SummerSlam. But to me, I don't think that John Cena's career is going to end in a whimper. There's part of me thinking that Brock Lesnar will show up and I guess just beat up John and basically saying that he's not done beating him up, because his goal of the last match was to end John Cena's career. And if Cena's still able to go out there and entertain the kids, he hasn't, accomplished his goal, And even Lesnar, he hasn't really been talked about since the Cena match. It's not like that match made him a a title competitor or anything like that. So I don't know if just everything falls in line and they're trying to set up war games and they do something like that. But right now, I'm kind of really scratching my head, and I'm wondering what AJ and Cena are even fighting for. That's kind of what I'm thinking about more than anything else when it comes to Crown Jewel. Not this, but next Saturday here in California, 4 a.m. start time. I'll tell you the truth. I'll probably turn it on when I get to work. I'll start it from the beginning. But yeah, that's nuts. Especially with the fact that it's only the second live event from WWE on ESPN. I know that they wanted to kick off this ESPN era, but for that one reason alone, I think I would have left the pay-per-views on ESPN. The last pay-per-view didn't do gangbusters, and more than likely, this one is not going to be a hugely, at least live, watched event that's going to be helping numbers for WWE and ESPN.